Why is every person who has red or multicolored hair retarded? And it's not just feminists and women. Even men who dye their hair blue or purple or pink or any of those colors, they're all fucking dumb. Like, they're just stupid. They all have bad ideas. The clip that I'm about to show, the woman who's the subject, one of the subjects in this clip is no different. And this clip is taken from Just Pearly Things, which is a YouTube channel everyone should follow. Let's get into it. I'm back again, armed with the truth, Gucci glasses, and a Hugo Boss suit. Let's get it.
So when someone who hasn't had children is telling me, "Oh no, kids don't need both their parents," I find it laughable because I tell you something. Most parents will tell you that they know that their child needs both parents in their life. For you to say something like that makes no sense to me as a parent. It doesn't make any sense.
I have kids in my family that are raised single parents and whatever, or some kids in care and stuff like that. I feel like it's laughable that you just said, "Oh, my life is this, so you're wrong."
It's not. That's not what he's saying. He's saying my life. He's saying my life is this, and stats back it up.
It's not about me. What about statistics? About
feminists and red-haired people. They don't care about stats. They only operate in feelings.
What the results are at the end of the day.
Because the way you're going, it's just like, I believe what I believe regardless of any stats. So you could see whatever stat and you're still going to think what you think.
Yeah, because I think you can't generalize anything in the world. I don't think anything can be generalized.
You can't.
You have to generalize.
Bro, any chick that has a chest tattoo, run. Do not even fuck with them. I'm telling you, man.
Unless you're a therapist giving specific advice, like you have to generalize.
I think people are too individual to even...
You're saying you can't generalize?
You can't say women are this, you can't say so-and-so is that.
You can't say children prefer milk. You can't say, you can't say anything. What do you mean you can't generalize?
I just feel like I don't say anything. I don't say women are this or dogs are that or whatever is this. I just say that thing there is this and that's it. And I don't generalize.
Do dogs bark?
Some don't. My dog never barks. Some don't.
They always want to operate in exceptions. Some dogs don't bark. Some dogs are debarked. They always want to operate in exceptions to prove a point.
So now, see, this is the thing. So now you would just argue just to be right in a conversation.
The need to be right.
You know dogs.
They have a need to be right.
Bark. But for you to say, "Oh, some don't," it's like you know that's what dogs do.
Then you can't argue anything.
You can't argue anything.
Because if you can't generalize at all, then you can't argue anything.
Okay. Yeah, there are always exceptions.
I'll take that back. I'll take that back, and I will just say you can't generalize men and women and families.
I also think there's a difference
I thought she was going to make some sense,
realism,
but no.
like the reality of people's situation.
Exactly.
I think a lot of women would love to be married, but they're
subscribe to the channel, guys.
But they made poor choices to not get there.
Maybe they did get married, and maybe it was a bad time. You know, you never know the situation. But being a single mum is a lot of work, especially if you...
And they put themselves in that position, so I don't feel any kind of remorse for them. Unless they're like a widow or something like that. There are exceptions. Like if you're a widow, your husband died, I understand. But these women who like have a kid with a guy and then they decide, well, this motherfucker ain't shit. And they kick him out of the house and they're single moms by choice. I have zero fucking remorse for them. Because they made a choice. They made a choice. It's their choice. They could have used every single kind of contraception. They could have picked better. They could have picked a better man. Because ultimately, women decide who they want to have sex with. Men decide who they want to have relationships with. And when most of these relationships in most of these baby mama type relationships, where the wife and the husband, or like the wife and the husband are not together, or the husband and boyfriend are not together, but they share a kid. In most of those cases, women leave those guys, and guys rarely ever leave women. 70 to 80% of divorces are filed by women because they're incentivized to leave. So I have zero remorse for these women who are single moms by choice, and most of them are single moms by choice.
You have like 3 kids.
Yeah, so
you've got to pay for them.
You don't end up as a single mom by accident.
Yeah, so I'm saying like don't pick it.
Exactly.
So don't pick it. That's a choice.
Yeah, you don't end up as a single mom.
Oh, but accountability.
And you choose who you sleep with.
Kryptonite to women. It's
I
kryptonite.
think, well, maybe if that husband was better, she wouldn't have left.
Oh, it's his
Well, why
fault.
is it always?
It's
well,
always
why-
the man's
maybe if
fault.
she was
Relationship.
maybe
It's both of
if she was better, she wouldn't have left.
I think if they both worked
Exactly.
on it, then yeah, I think we can both agree people should work on their relationships before calling it quits. But there's reality. There's a reality and ideal.
Listen, I think
situation.
women should be more discerning when deciding which men they should
Okay,
get
but
involved
women
with.
have only recently earned, like, over the last, like, 20, 30 years, right? Which isn't a long time period in the grand scheme of things, especially
It's not
generational.
longer.
I mean,
That's
It's
a
two
lot.
generations.
Fair enough,
It's two
but
generations.
the
That's it.
consequences will still be there.
Yeah,
Like,
but it's two generations.
What does that have to
and
do with
women
me today?
Had to
What is
rely
that? No,
on men.
I'm a woman. What does that have to do with me today?
Women had to rely
Nothing.
on men for, like you said, financial support to be able to work, to be able to live, essentially. And as we've come out of that, yes, it's been, what, like 40, 50 years, right? As we've come, probably a bit longer. No, about 50, 60 years, to say that. And they had to rely on settling to be able to get a man to be able to support them. So we are still shifting out of that mindset where you settle for something that maybe isn't that great because you have to be supported. You have to have this nuclear family.
Yeah, ultimately, they all want to settle when they turn 29 and they know that the clock's ticking. Then they settle.
Situation. I grew up with two parents in the house.
On their 29th birthday, they decide that now I'm a woman of God and I need a good man.
I grew up with a relative, two parents who were incredibly functioning society, but I was suicidal by the time I was 12. So having two parents doesn't blanketly assume that you're going to be happy. Like those statistics that you read off, it's not necessarily because the kid had a single mother. There's so many different systemic issues that go into that. Poverty,
Again.
where you live, like
External issues, never a woman's fault, blah, 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 blah.
different aspects.
I've
It's
got a
not
qu-
just about having a single mother.
I've got a question for you,
Yes.
all the girls on the panel. So, I learnt this a couple of weeks ago that women are very picky when it comes to men. My question is, if you were given the choice, would you marry a guy you're not attracted to, knowing that he's going to stay in the relationship? And Pearl, feel free to rephrase my question if you feel I'm saying it wrong. Or, so would you marry a guy that you're not attracted to, but you know he's going to stay there, he's going to provide and everything? Or would you marry the guy that's cheated multiple times, but you are madly in love with him?
The second, the guy that's cheated, who they're madly in love with. I've cheated on a lot of girlfriends and I've got caught many, many times, and not a single one of them left me because I cheated. Not a single one.
Who would you be with?
That's a boundary.
Women are much more forgiving about cheating than men. We will not tolerate it, most of us anyways. But women, they will tolerate it if they catch you cheating. If you're a high value enough man. If they know that they can't easily replace you.
But if you're
I'll go
cheating,
first.
how do you?
Personally, I would say neither, and because I've been in both of those situations where I've had someone who would be a perfect option, but I wasn't attracted to them, and I've had someone that I've been madly in love with who fucked around with me, essentially. I've been in both those situations, and I think the issue is people have to think they have to settle for those situations.
So, which one?
People. Whenever women say people instead of man or women, and if they try to give generic advice as if men and women are the same, some nonsense is about to come out of their mouth. Because men and women are not the same. So the advice cannot be the same. Because our experiences are not the same.
Neither. Sorry.
They try to use non-gender specific terms because they think men and women are exactly the same.
I don't know.
And I think these people really believe that. I don't think she has bad intentions. They really do believe this nonsense.
It's a cop out, but I wouldn't choose either. I'm not doing. I would rather be on my own.
All right.
If those are my two options.
If you could give me one, life on the line, one. That
I would choose the one I'm not attracted to.
Cool.
Me too.
Okay.
Yep.
I think I also have to say neither. I'm not somebody who's ever.
She's capping. She would not choose the guy she's not attracted.
Me too.
Okay.
Line one. That
I would choose the one I'm not attracted to.
Cool.
Cap.
Me
Cap.
too.
Okay.
Yep.
I think I also have to say neither. I'm not somebody who's ever necessarily
They're all
thought.
If your life is on the line, if your life is on
They'd lie and they say what they think is the politically correct thing to say.
the line, pick one.
I'd rather die.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't, because chicks fold the first in a crisis situation if they think that their life is in danger. I seen it, so no, she wouldn't. She would not rather die. Trust me on that.
That's where I was at.
Honestly, like the way you guys are answering, like that's why 50% of women over 30 are single and childless.
Yeah.
And they will
Because they want to
continue to
be.
be
It's a
single and
decision.
childless.
It's not necessarily because they're
For most of them, it's not a decision, man. Like, they realize at 29, 30 that they want that. They believe in their 20s that the party's going to last forever. But at 29, 28, mostly 29. On their 29th birthday, they realize that the party's going to be over soon because they can't compete with the younger versions of themselves. And there's a chick turning 18 every day. And they realize that at some point. So then they decide to settle down. But not a day before. And by that time, it's too late already because most of the guys that would have considered them for long-term commitment back when they were 21, they don't want them at 31. All with high mileage, used up, heartbroken, with all that trauma that she's got from previous relationships, and then she's gonna bring to me. Fuck that. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that myself. Give me a 21-year-old hottie with a low body count who's gonna like listen to me and not give me bullshit.
They're also the least happy group when they hit like 45 or 50.
Correct.
Because like the party runs out.
Yeah, exactly.
Someday no one's lining up to date you at a certain age.
Yep. It's not really a decision because the guys are the ones who control who gets relationships. I mean, from what I can see, it seems like the crux is you need to understand that just because you don't.
For me personally, I don't date any chick who's over 29 for long term. I'll still smash them, but I'm not. No long term relationships. Nothing serious, because by that time, she's gonna have her heart broken many times. And there's not going to be much, even if you're a guy with, there's not going to be much you're going to be able to impress her with, even if you're a guy with resources. Like, she's already been in a Lambo by 29, 30. She's already been to Dubai. She's already been to Tulum. Like, there's not much new that you can show a 29, 30-year-old chick. Like, the magic is gone. I think Andrew Tate said that. The magic's gone by 29, 30.
Like your options doesn't mean you should gaslight yourself into believing you don't have any. You know, like
yeah, and your options are just that's your level. So like if you don't like the guys you can date, then like you should probably try to improve yourself.
But yeah, and I completely agree with that. I believe you should work onto yourself until you're ready to be in a relationship that you want, and that's why I would rather be alone until I'm ready for a relationship that's going to be reciprocal in all ways. And I think that's the mindset. It shouldn't be about.
She's fucking around till she finds the perfect guy, but that's never going to happen, and she's going to keep waiting. And she's going to get at 29. Maybe she's going to still keep waiting. Because a lot of these chicks are finding suckers at 29 who get into relationships with them not knowing their past. And they're the ones who get fucked up in divorce court. And some of these chicks, they don't even settle at 29. They think, well, I can do better than this. I can do better than this. And the quality of guy that they can get over the years keeps going down and down and down and down. And then they get to 40, 42, and then it's too late because all their eggs are gone. And at that point, why would you want to marry? Because one of the main reasons guys want to get married is because they want to have kids. I want to have kids one day, and that would be the only reason I would ever get married. So if you take that out of the equation, then what do I get? Pussy? I can get that anyways.
Whether people are going to settle for a relationship or anything like this, people should be open to working on themselves, be open to like not being judgmental and being about love.
Do you think at a certain age though, it's kind of just like, okay, like let's say 32, you only really have till 35 if you want to have kids, and you don't have, because geriatric pregnancy is like $20,000 a year, so the average person can't afford that. If you want a family and you want kids, do you think there's a certain age where you kind of look around and be like, you know what, I don't think my options are going to get better than this because I'm just getting older?
I think yes and no.
Because a lot of times, like when we say settle, like maybe he's settling for her. Like how can we just say women are settling when that's your level? I think that's like saying a guy saying, "Oh, I didn't get a Victoria's Secret model, so I settled."
Yeah.
I think settling. Okay, but I think settling for appearance is different in terms of settling for the way someone behaves. Yeah. So the way someone treats you. If you're settling for someone who doesn't treat you the way you deserve to be treated, who isn't present, who doesn't show up, or treats you the way you want to be treated, then you're settling for yourself. And I think the idea is that we have limited options, which we don't.
So
yeah, you do, and guys do too. I mean, most guys out here are coping. That's why most guys will deal with an average bitch who's also mouthy to them and disrespects them in public. I've seen it personally. And yes, everybody has to settle eventually, and no, options are limited for men and for women, and especially for women after a certain age. Like, if you're a guy past 30 and you have your shit together, like I'm 29 right now, I'm in the best physical shape I've ever been. Well, actually, I was in better shape 2 years ago, but overall, I'm in great shape. I got my money up. I got my social skills up. I got my confidence up. So I'm at the peak, but a 30-year-old chick, she's not at her peak. Her peak was at 21, and most people know that, and these females know that. But they want to pretend that their value does not diminish with age, even though they know at a deep down level that their value is directly tied to their age. That's why women past a certain age are very hesitant to tell you their age, and that's why there's that saying, you never ask a woman her age. That's why it exists.
Men and women are also attracted to different things.
Yeah. So if women hate men that don't treat them right, then why do we all seem to date them?
Correct.
Trauma, generational trauma, a whole bunch of stuff.
Blah, 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 blah. Blame it on external forces. Not my fault. Not a woman's fault. It's never a woman's fault.
So many different things. It's not an excuse. It's genuinely what's going on.
Women are attracted to bad boys.
They never want to take any accountability. Accountability is like kryptonite to a woman.
At a certain age, generally, women are
especially to these red hair feminist types
attracted to bad boys. So
whenever, like I said, like the title of the video says, whenever chicks dyed her hair red or purple, pink, or any of those rainbow colors, she's gonna say straight nonsense.
Women see red flags in men. They see a certain type of man. Generally, we know it's not all women, yeah, and they still go for that type of man.
Do you know about attachment?
They love bad boys.
Go on.
That's why I tell guys, be a bad boy.
That remind us of our earliest relationships.
It's like anxious attachment, like
that sort of thing, right? So especially in terms of like anxious attachment and that sort of thing, you tend to seek relationships where even if someone's treating you negatively, you think you're the problem. So you do anything you can to change yourself to match that behavior, and that's why women stay in relationships, because they have this self-deprecating view of themselves.
So are they broken?
Insecurity. I wouldn't say broken. I don't like the word broken.
Well, because that's what the show was about. Broken.
Unhealed.
Broken
I would say
society.
unhealed. No, but I would make that point. I don't think society is broken. I think unhealed and broken are very different things.
I think
so
very
they're
different
unhealed.
things.
But you don't think if you think if you keep dating bad partner after bad partner, like maybe it's you. Maybe
do you know how
maybe
deep the trauma goes for someone to constantly put themselves in that situation where they constantly make the wrong choice?
Yeah, but after a while.
So deep, and that can be so subconscious. It's so difficult to consciously bring to mind if you don't have the right people talking to you about it, the right therapy.
Or you could just make better. Like, yeah,
it's
like
not an excuse. Even if it is an excuse, it's a genuine excuse that people deal with. People
not really.
Like, at the end of the day, you have to
I have an anxious attachment style, but I'm not going to blame that on my poor choices. Like, I'm just gonna say that was a poor choice, and I'm gonna learn from it. I'm not gonna say, that's
blame it on your childhood.
But no. I mean, I could do a whole sob story about how I had 10 siblings.
It's not a sob story. You can acknowledge the poor choice and still like see that you can make better. But some people just can't see that.
Or you could just say, this is a poor choice. This is on me. This is my.
Everyone goes through hardship in life, not just women. But these women want to pretend that only they go through any kind of adversity.
I'm going to move on.
Some people don't have the ability to be able to do that.
Everyone has the ability.
You make that assumption.
It's a choice.
It's not.
It's a choice.
Some things are so deeply. I'm going to say
it's always society or this or that or some external force that they can't control. So it's not their fault.
Yes, but I don't like the word broken. I say unhealed.
I also think when you get to an
broken
adult,
women, broken society.
But it's not just broken women. It's broken men. It's broken people.
No, but
it's not just broken women.
Okay, so you're talking about anxious attachment styles.
Yeah.
We're talking about women who choose men.
Yeah.
Right. When women choose women have babies by these men. Right.
Sometimes.
So generally, women are having babies. Right. So if they're choosing these men, having babies by these men, what are these children going to be? That's what I said. What are these children going to be like? Because the next generation that is going to be raised in this society, the next generation that matters in the society is the children. Okay. And so, like I said, if the women are broken, you are going to raise a broken society.
The men are involved in that too.
Yeah.
But hang on. But you were telling me that it's okay to raise a child without a man.
Yeah.
So that you're saying, men are involved, but you don't want the man involved.
No, I'm not saying that's a blanket.
So then what are we doing here? What are we doing? Are we raising nuclear families, or are we doing the whole single mother thing? Are we being broken? Are we raising broken children? What are we doing?
I don't understand how women are broken because they choose bad men. So that means broken society. But women, bad men, they're just being chose. The bad men are there. That's the subject.
But bad men are broken too.
But the majority of men are good men. It's a very small percentage of men that are sleeping with all the women. Like it's a very
20%.
like if you want a guy that's over 6 foot, that's 15% of men.
Me
You want him
right
to be
here.
cute, cut that in half.
Me.
You want him to make money, cut that in half. It's a very
Me.
small percentage of men that
And
are
that's a
sleeping with
hat
all the
trick
girls.
right there, ladies and
Like
gentlemen.
every girl has a guy in their friend zone that would treat them well, and
All
they know
money,
would
good
treat them
looking in
well,
the
and they
face.
know likes them.
Right
and it's
here.
like we don't pick them, and then we're gonna cry because the guy
Thank
we
you, God.
picked is bad to us. But you could have picked the
Blessed.
guy in the friend zone.
So yeah, the level of insanity of a female can be judged by the color of her hair, as demonstrated by this red-haired feminist. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.